Welcome to the Creative Commons RX podcast. Before diving into this episode, I want to ensure we're all on the same page. This is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. No doctor-patient or pharmacist-patient relationship is formed. Using this information and the materials linked to this podcast is at the user's risk. The content on this podcast is not intended to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice from any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Clinical experts created the references, content, and clinical insight. NotebookLM, a Google AI tool, created the audio content, which I extensively reviewed before release. Finally, the host states that he takes all conflicts of interest seriously. Currently, there are no conflicts to disclose. For all of his disclosures and the companies he invests in or advises, he directs users to reach out independently, where he keeps an up-to-date and active list of all disclosures.
You know, we're living in this incredible age of medical miracles. We have therapies that can literally cure devastating genetic diseases. But, and it's a big but, this clinical revolution has a hidden cost, an economic disruption so huge it could change healthcare as we know it. So let's dive right into what's being called the $1 million paradox. Okay, let's just start with this number, over $3 million. Now, that's not the price tag for a new hospital wing or a fleet of ambulances. No. For some of these brand new therapies, that is the price for a single treatment for one patient. So, I gotta ask you directly, what if this was the price of a cure? I'm not talking about managing a disease for the rest of your life, but potentially ending it with one single shot. And this isn't some far-off hypothetical. It is the central conflict at the very frontier of modern medicine. And that right there, that's what we're calling the $1 million cure paradox. This is the reality of a whole new class of treatments called cell and gene therapies, or CGTs for short. And believe me, they represent a fundamental shift in what medicine is even capable of doing. I mean, CGTs are a total paradigm shift. They don't just treat symptoms, they go in and work by modifying our very genes or our cells to fix the root cause of a disease. This offers this unbelievable promise of a one-time, potentially curative treatment for conditions that used to be a life sentence. Now, what's really fascinating here is why these cures are so wildly expensive. Just look at the complexity. A simple drug like aspirin, it has about 21 atoms. A more complex drug, a biologic, has over 25,000. But a cell and gene therapy? Whoa. It's basically a living drug, often custom-made for just one patient. That insane complexity means development costs can blow past $1 billion, and that leads directly to these eye-watering price tags. And this is where you really see the core paradox in action. A cure provides value, in saved medical costs, in quality of life, over decades, maybe over a patient's entire lifetime. But the healthcare system is being asked to pay for that entire lifetime of value in one gigantic, multi-million-dollar check, due immediately. It's this fundamental mismatch that's breaking the entire system. So here's the bottom line. Our payment models they were never built for this. The systems we have in place for paying for medicine were designed perfectly for the last century of medicine, not for what's coming next. Let's dig into exactly why they're failing so badly. On the left, you've got the old model, the one built for chronic illness. You pay as you go, right? Smaller payments spread out over time. For an insurance company, that's a manageable, predictable risk. But on the right, you have the new curative model. It's one massive pay-it-all-now bill. And that transforms a manageable risk into something completely different, a catastrophic, almost lottery-like financial event. And this is not some theoretical problem. This quote just nails it. A single patient, one person, getting one of these cures can completely derail, if not bankrupt, the entire annual budget of a small company's health plan. It completely changes the business of insurance from managing risk to just gambling. So this financial shockwave creates this massive stalemate between the company that makes the drug and the company that has to pay for it. And the reason for that stalemate really boils down to what we can call the payer's triad of challenges. 3 specific, interconnected problems that make just agreeing on a price almost impossible. Okay, let's break them down. First, the obvious one, extreme budget shock. Bam, one massive bill that threatens to sink the ship. Second is performance risk. I mean, these therapies are new, the data looks amazing, but we don't have 30 years of it yet. You're paying for a lifetime of value today with some level of uncertainty.
And third, and this one's really tricky, is the patient portability problem. An insurer pays millions for the cure, but what if next year that patient gets a new job and switches insurance plans? The first payer covered 100% of the cost, but the new insurer gets all the financial benefits of a healthy person. See the problem?
Okay, so the old playbook is out. It's toast. This crisis is forcing everyone, drug makers, insurers, hospitals, you name it, to get really creative and completely rewrite the financial rulebook. And this has kicked off a whole new world of what are called innovative payment models. All right, one of the most powerful new ideas is the outcomes-based contract. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a money-back guarantee for medicine. It's that simple. Payment is directly tied to whether the therapy actually works. If the drug doesn't hit a specific, pre-agreed-upon clinical milestone, the insurer gets some or even all of their money back. This directly tackles that big performance risk problem. And this isn't just a concept. It's actually happening right now. For instance, take Kymriah, a cancer therapy. The deal was simple: no response, no pay. If the patient doesn't respond within 30 days, the hospital doesn't get charged. That's it. For Luxturna, a therapy for a rare kind of blindness, they measure how well it works not just at the beginning, but again at the 30-month mark to make sure the cure actually sticks. The other major strategy takes on that budget shock problem head on. It's basically a mortgage for a cure. Instead of one gigantic, scary upfront payment, the cost gets spread out over several years in nice, predictable installments. This turns that catastrophic financial event into just a manageable line item in the budget.
But here's the really smart part. These strategies aren't an either-or thing. You can actually stack them. For example, the Therapies Zolgensma offered payers both an installment plan and an outcomes-based contract. It's a hybrid, an outcomes-based annuity. You pay over time, and get this, those payments only continue as long as the cure keeps working. It solves both the budget shock and the performance risk all at once. Pretty clever.
So we have the solutions, right? Well, not so fast. Having these clever new models is one thing, but making them work across the entire healthcare system requires a total transformation in how everything operates. So what does the future of paying for these cures really look like? A fancy contract is just a piece of paper. The real challenge, the heavy lifting, is implementation. And the absolute foundation of all of this is data. To make an outcomes-based deal work, you need a powerful data engine that can track a patient's health for years, not months, even if they switch doctors or move across the country. Without that data infrastructure, these innovative contracts are frankly impossible to execute. And when we look ahead, 3 big trends are crystal clear. First, the pressure is only going to get more intense. We're expecting 10 to 20 new CGTs to launch every year. Second, the market has to move away from these complicated one-off deals toward contracts that are more standardized and easier to manage. And third, long-term, real-world data showing how these cures actually perform in the real world, well, that's going to become the new gold standard for deciding their value. Which leaves us with one final and honestly enormous question. This isn't just about finance or data anymore. This is about our values. As science continues to hand us these incredible life-changing cures, how will we, as a society, decide who gets access to them? The answer to that is going to define the future of medicine for every single one of us.
This is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. No doctor-patient or pharmacist-patient relationship is formed. Using this information and the materials linked to this podcast is at the user's risk. The content on this podcast is not intended to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice from any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Clinical experts created the references, content, and clinical insight. NotebookLM, a Google AI tool, created the audio content, which I extensively reviewed before release. Finally, the host states that he takes all conflicts of interest seriously. Currently, there are no conflicts to disclose. For all of his disclosures and the companies he invests in or advises, he directs users to reach out independently, where he keeps an up-to-date and active list of all disclosures.